they're corroding or oxidizing, and it's releasing some power.
This doesn't work, or I need the extenders don't work.
All right, gotcha.
So I need more vinegar.
Fill it up with water.
Yeah. That way you can reach both legs.
Right. Do you want the tweezers to hold on to the LED?
As you can see, Mr. Sam here is pouring in the vinegar.
So wait, what happens?
It's for all you PM year twos.
You give it to Tyler. Or something.
Yeah, you give it to me so I can get an A for the semester.
Well, what do I do?
I don't know. It's impossible to find though.
It might give you a nice
Museums are looking for this movie and they can't find it. It's because the guy who made
DVD.
Yeah, you got to find the actual DVD copy. It's impossible. Nope, can't even find it online. Playhouse 90 with the Alas Babylon episode. It's impossible to find. We've even found a collection of Playhouse 90.
This one works. So the lights you'd be able to see better.
I saw the little red though, and the little green.
Yeah, this powers this light. That's some orange.
Ta-da!
Red and green.
Yep.
If you power off the lights, you'd be able to see it better.
Sure. Well, that's fine though. Like,
Yeah, you can see it.
we know it's actually doing its job.
Okay, yeah, I had to get real close, but yeah, you can see it.
Oh, okay. It's really just
Look
like a
at
little
that.
tiny light.
It powered.
Okay, can you see it now?
It's kind of looking between
Yeah.
the red and the
Lower.
green.
Take a look, PM year twos. Look!
There was light.
That little red down there is the light, boys.
I see it.
All right, so Nigel, Patrick, I did want one other thing to talk to you
Here's
about.
its
not just the light,
creator, Sam.
but- Nigel, we're about the movie.
Then there's Abraham.
He's all convinced he's got to find this movie now. All right, so the reason
then there's me.
I kind of thought this was clever is Sam was using an LED to do this. An LED,
Pie.
in this case, is just one kind of light going through. The ones you guys are going to be using soon are, as you can see, how many legs do they have?
Mr. B.
Three legs? Really? Are those three legs? 4 legs. Oh,
that's
so
better math.
3 of them are color coded, right? Which colors do you see?
Red, green, blue.
Kind of like primaries, right? And then there's what's the other guy? Black. All right. So here's the idea for hooking this to a regular power source, including the Raspberry Pi. We can use these little wires to connect to something.
The extenders work.
The extenders are working.
If someone can hold the up there just a bit, you.
Take a look-see here. Oh,
Where'd it go?
oh.
Can you see it? It did work. I saw it. I saw it working.
I wish my camera would focus.
Whenever the camera's on, it's like, I'm shy, I don't want to work around now. So what you guys are going to be doing pretty soon is you're going to be building your own, what these are, somebody else coined the term. So they're called RGBs, LED squids, okay? And the reason they're squids is because they got little legs that can be menacing, right? His Polaroid's ready for action. So here's the idea. We've got 3 colors, RGB. Each of them can be turned on a certain amount to give either full red, green, or blue. But if you start to do combinations of this is a lot like your monitor where if you say, hey, I want to turn on red a little bit and blue a little bit, you can get like a purplish color, right? So if you think about like the pixels on your screen, this is kind of simulating one of those where you can say, I can make any color out there if I give different amounts of red, green, and blue, right? If you turn them all on, what do we get color-wise?
Something.
We get white, right? So if all the colors are on, I was waiting for you to think for a second. I'm like, I can make a black light if I give it power. No, so the black one here, the wire, and the only reason we've color coded these is we're going to be sharing this with other teachers and other teams trying to do the VitaX stuff. So it made it easier for them to understand. The black one is going to let us complete the circuit, right? Because if you give power to something, you have to have a way for the wire to continue. So like a light switch. If we only put like a battery to it and it couldn't go to ground, it wouldn't run through the lights.
Basically, if there's too much power, it will cause a fire. But if the ground wire will allow the excess power to go into the ground, where nothing will happen.
Nice. All right, so just so you know, can you see there are some bumps on some of these?
I do.
Which ones do you see bumps on?
The blue, red, and I can't tell with the green. I'm looking through a camera. Yeah, I see the green has some bumps, and the black one actually.
The black has some bumps?
Yeah, I see it.
All right, the black really doesn't have bumps, or it shouldn't, but it might.
It does.
It shouldn't. All right, so here's the idea. The LEDs, if you give them too much power, they make like a little supernova, and then they're done. because if you give them too much juice, they're like, yay! And then they blow up. All right. We actually had somebody, the first year we did this, where I had walked through and I'm like, do this, don't do this. And then sure enough, 5 minutes later, I went back and I saw like a chunk of plastic gone because it had gone. And I looked over at the person who was there last. I'm like, did you do the thing you weren't supposed to do? He's like, but I didn't think you meant. Yeah, so these weeds can die, all right? So the reason that they have the little bumps in them, though, is to prevent them from dying, right? So we actually have resistors that go in there to say, don't allow too much juice to go to the little light. Because, one of these guys. So the bumps come from the fact that we have integrated those into our lights, and that resists flow going to the light. So it makes sure not too much goes, okay? So for any of the colors, it's important where you have that. The black one shouldn't have a resistor because that's going to ground, and we don't want to resist that one. So eventually when you build your own, you're going to need 3 resistors, 1 for each of the colors, and not 1 for the black. This is also, I don't know if you've ever seen this before, Mr. McLean actually showed this to me the first time, but apparently his students don't get to use them all the time. There are these little things that, Bernard, can you grab me that box underneath the 2 plier things? Just the little, that's it. Yep.
How does this connect to pipes?
All these little dudes are little heat shrink tubes, and what you can do is you put them over something like an exposed wire or a resistor, and when you cover them up, you take it looks like a fancy hairdryer, and when you apply heat to it, it actually then shrinks around it, and it makes this nice little holding. I had some of Mr. McLean's students come down last year to help us with this, and they're like, what are these? And I'm like, you guys get to use these, right? They're like, we never get to use this. So I was like, oops, because he showed them to me, but apparently his students don't get to use them. You guys will get to use these. So you're eventually going to be building 2 of these. You're going to learn how to do some basic soldering if you never have. How many people have soldered already? Sweet. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. All right, so you're going to do some basic soldering. It gets a little stinky, so we'll try to make sure that we've got like a little fan or something.
I remember from last year.
Yeah, you remember from last year, yeah. And then we've improved them, because if you kind of remember last year's, we had lots of little wires piggyback together. We now have gotten smarter, and we just went for like a longer wire. These are going to let us plug into a little strip that'll connect to the Raspberry Pi then. All right, so you guys are going to be building a couple of these, and then you're going to be writing code to make them do stuff. Cool. Any questions on? Yeah.
So without the colored
Wires?
Yeah. How would we just have to hook them up to the Pi and then manually figure out what color it is?
Yeah, so if someone was mean and they didn't tell you which of these are which leg, like when I got these from Amazon, it tells you like here's the order that they go in, and I won't be mean because it's not the goal is not to trick you, but I will have I basically took a picture and I put it down and said lay down your light like this, and the different legs are different lengths, and that'll be your clue to, okay, so this leg, if it's on this side, it's the short one, that's the black leg, for instance, okay? But each of them has a little different length, and then, yeah, that's how it helps. So we're going to make sure we wire them that way to make it easier down the road. But you're right, when you first get the light, it's just going to be little metal strips coming down, and you'll have to know, but the legs are the giveaway. Cool. Any other questions? All right, sweet. And thanks to Sam for doing this today. And may you get an A for the marking period. Fingers crossed.
Sam, you have a napkin I can use?
Yeah. Cool.
Get an A, Sam.
I better. He said it.
Say goodbye to Techie World, Abraham.
I bet you
You lose all your break.